Hi, it's Amy again. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this cowl without any crochet hooks, just using your hands. And you can see it can wrap once or twice around. It's really stretchy and warm. We're going to use one skein of Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. It's super bulky weight 6 yarn. And we're going to start by making a slip knot, just like you would when you crochet with a hook. And we're going to start by chaining 17. Again, just like you would with a hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 17 times. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Just using 2 fingers in place of a hook. When you get to the end of your chain, you're going to turn it, and starting in the second chain from the end loop, so counting over 1, 2, starting this chain right here, we're going to slip stitch our way across the beginning chain. And remember, a slip stitch, you just insert your fingers or your hook and yarn over and pull through both loops. So insert, yarn over, pull through. Insert, yarn over, pull through. All the way across that beginning chain. Okay, and that's the end of the row. That's what it looks like so far. I'm just going to count my stitches to make sure I have 16 going across. Then I'm going to chain 1, turn, and I'm going to slip stitch across again, this time working in front loops only. So slip stitching in front loops only. You can see that each stitch has 2 loops at the top. These 2 right here. There's a back loop and a front loop. We're only crocheting under that front loop. So each time you get to the end of a row, you're going to chain 1 and turn and repeat the same row again and again until you run out of yarn. I like to pull out my yarn to keep it slack so it's not too tight as I work. And let's see, turn and then slip stitch across in front loops only. I'm going to repeat this same row about 50 some times until we have used up the whole skein of yarn. Just keep in mind that, as you can see, my yarn isn't super tight. If yours is tighter than this, your scarf is going to be narrower and probably a little bit shorter. So you want to keep it pretty loose so it's easier to work with and so your scarf doesn't get too tight. And your scarf will be about 11 inches wide. So now would be a good time to measure the width to make sure that it's approximately 11 inches wide. And that's what the stitch looks like. And I'm going to keep crocheting. I'll catch up with you about halfway through the scarf. Here's what the scarf looks like about halfway through. I think I've made 29 rows so far. And the way to count your rows is just to count each ridge across. There's like a line of stitches for each row that you've made. If you count those ridges, you'll know how many rows that you've made. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. You're going to keep crocheting rows until you run out of yarn. So here I am finishing my last row. I'm stopping here because I just have about a yard and a half or so of yarn left. And I want to save that long tail to stitch with. So I'm just going to pull out that loop, just pull it through, and I'm going to grab my yarn needle. Now you could stitch the scarf together like this without any twists in it, and it would look great that way too. It would look something like that. But I'm going to put a half twist in mine. So if you lay your beginning chain and your final row next to each other, and then turn one of those ends over, just turn it 180 degrees, a half twist, and lay it back down. Then we're going to stitch that seam closed using our tail and yarn needle. And when you get to the top of the seam, you can just clip off the excess from that tail. And then I'm going to tie my two tails together and weave the ends down into the stitches. And here's the finished scarf lined up with my 12-inch ruler. You can see approximately how long it'll be, but it is very stretchy. And then there's the width. As I said before, it's about 11 inches wide. And thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll try making this project.